Let me tell you something right now. Throughout history, there have been moments when a single word, spoken with strength and conviction, carried more weight than armies, more force than weapons, and more impact than policies. One word can shake the foundations of power. One word can silence critics. One word can wake up the world and declare, we are unbreakable. You see, in life, it's not about how much you talk. It's about the power behind what you say. Weak people speak in paragraphs, but champions speak in thunder. That one word, delivered with courage, became a symbol. It wasn't just sound, it was energy. It was defiance. It was leadership. And it shook the mighty. It made the powerful stop and think. Because real strength is not in the noise, it's in the truth behind the voice. This is the lesson for all of us. We don't need to scream to be heard. We don't need to beg to be respected. We need conviction, discipline, and courage. That's what turns a whisper into an earthquake. That's what turns one word into a movement. Think about your own life. How many times have you remained silent when you should have spoken up? How many times have you let fear dictate your choices? The world doesn't remember those who stay quiet. The world remembers those who dare to speak with strength, even if it's just one word. When you stand tall, when your heart is unshakable, when your voice comes from your soul, people listen. The world listens. And it doesn't matter if you are one against millions, because truth has a way of piercing through everything. That's the power of courage. That's the power of discipline. That's the power of resilience. So ask yourself today, what is your word? What is the statement you will make to the world? Will it be weakness or will it be strength? Will it be fear or will it be freedom? Will it be silence or will it be action? My friends, history is shaped not by those who wait, but by those who dare. The world doesn't need more excuses. The world needs more warriors. The world needs men and women who stand tall, who speak truth, and who live with courage. So here's my call to you. Be bold, be fearless, and be disciplined. Let your actions become your voice. Let your life shout louder than words. Stand strong and let the world feel your presence. Because when you decide to live with courage, when you dare to speak your truth, you too can shake the world with just one word. There are moments in history when everything changes, not because of an army, not because of weapons, not even because of a revolution, but because of one single word. Think about that. One word has the power to shake the ground beneath the feet of the mighty, to rattle the cages of the oppressors, to break through the walls of doubt and fear. People underestimate the strength of words, but if you look closely at the story of humanity, you will see that some of the greatest turning points were ignited by the courage to speak just one word with conviction. When that one word is spoken with truth behind it, with fire in the heart, and with discipline in the soul, it is unstoppable. It cuts through lies. It tears down arrogance. It forces even the strongest powers in the world to pause. Because what they fear is not just the word itself, it is the courage that stands behind it. Courage is contagious. When one person dares to speak with strength, others begin to rise. They feel empowered. They feel alive. They feel like they too can stand. That is the ripple effect of courage. That is the energy that spreads from one word like wildfire across nations and generations. Imagine your own life for a moment. How many times have you stayed silent when you should have spoken up? How many times did you feel the truth burning inside of you, but you locked it away because you were afraid of the reaction? That is the difference between staying average and becoming great. Because greatness is not measured by how much you say, it's measured by when you decide to speak with power. It's measured by whether you dare to speak when it matters most. One word can define who you are. For some, that word is freedom. For others it is justice. For others it is strength. But no matter what your word is, it has the power to change not just your life, but the lives of everyone around you. That is why discipline is so important. You must discipline your mind and your heart, so when the moment comes, you are ready to speak with clarity and conviction. If you are weak inside, your words will have no impact. But if you are strong, if you are relentless, if you are unbreakable, then when that one word comes out of your mouth, it will shake everything around you. The world has always tried to suppress powerful words. The reason is simple. Those in power understand that an army can be defeated, but an idea expressed in one courageous word cannot be killed. That's why tyrants fear it. That's why the arrogant hate it, because they know that truth, once spoken, spreads like fire and cannot be contained. And that is what happened here. One word, spoken with courage, forced even the most powerful to stop, to listen, to realize that the game has changed. This is the lesson you must carry. Your voice matters, your truth matters, and your word matters. You don't need to deliver a speech that lasts an hour to inspire people. You don't need endless explanations to prove your point. You need strength, clarity, and conviction. One word can ignite a revolution inside your heart. One word can inspire you to take action, to build your body, to strengthen your mind, to rise beyond your limits. One word can wake you up from the prison of mediocrity and force you into the arena of greatness. Fear is the greatest prison in the world. It keeps people from speaking, it keeps people from acting, and it keeps people from living the life they were meant to live. Most people are trapped by fear, and because of that they choose silence. They see injustice and say nothing. They see opportunities and do nothing. They let the voice inside of them get weaker and weaker until it disappears completely. But courage is the key that breaks those chains. Courage is the one thing that transforms fear into fury. Courage is what allows a person to rise when everyone else is bowing down. Silence is comfortable, but comfort never creates greatness. Silence is safe, but safety never builds legends. You must understand this. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is a signal. It is a test. It is the universe asking you, how much do you really want this? How much are you willing to risk to stand for what you believe? Most people back down when they feel fear, but champions lean into it. They use fear as their training partner. They let it sharpen them, because only when you face fear head-on do you discover courage. Courage is not about the absence of fear. No, courage is standing tall in the middle of fear. It's speaking when your voice is shaking. It's stepping forward when your legs are trembling. It's holding your ground when the whole world is against you. That is real courage. And let me tell you, when a human being taps into that level of courage, they become unstoppable. Their words carry weight. Their actions inspire millions. Their presence becomes a force of nature. Look at your own life. How many dreams have you abandoned because of fear? How many times did you remain silent when you had the truth burning inside of you? How many times did you let opportunities pass you by because you were afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, afraid of what people might think? Fear will always be there, whispering in your ear. But courage is louder. And if you want to achieve greatness, you must train yourself every single day to choose courage over silence. Think of it like building muscle. In the gym, resistance builds strength. In life, fear builds courage. Every time you face fear and move forward anyway, you get stronger. Every time you choose to speak your truth instead of staying silent, your voice becomes more powerful. Every time you push through fear, you expand the limits of what's possible for you. That's how courage grows, by being practiced again and again until it becomes your natural state. And here's the truth. The world doesn't respect silence. The world respects action. The world respects the man or woman who speaks up when no one else will. The world respects the one who dares to be bold. Courage is magnetic. When one person chooses courage, it inspires everyone around them. It gives permission for others to rise. That's why one voice can ignite a movement. That's why one act of bravery can change the direction of history. Fear wants you to believe that you are powerless. Courage reminds you that you are limitless. Fear wants you to stay in the shadows. Courage pushes you into the light. Fear wants you to doubt yourself. Courage forces you to trust in your strength, in your discipline, in your vision. And the moment you choose courage over fear, you break free. You become dangerous. You become powerful. You become someone who cannot be ignored. Too many people believe that being loud means being strong. They think that if they shout the longest, if they argue the hardest, if they throw around the biggest words, they will be respected. But let me tell you the truth. Noise is not strength. Noise is insecurity disguised as power. Real strength is quiet, but it is unshakable. Real strength is conviction. Conviction is when you know who you are, what you stand for, and what you will never compromise on. That's the kind of strength that cannot be defeated. Conviction is the inner foundation that holds you steady when the storms come. It's the anchor that keeps you from drifting when everyone else is losing direction. People who rely on noise are weak inside, so they compensate by trying to sound powerful. But people with conviction don't need to prove anything. Their presence speaks for itself. Their words carry weight not because they are loud, but because they are true. Think about the strongest figures in history. They didn't need endless speeches filled with empty promises. They didn't need to scream to be heard. They spoke with clarity, with discipline, with conviction, and the world listened. When you live with conviction, every action you take becomes louder than words. You don't have to beg for respect, you command it. You don't have to force people to follow, they choose to. That's the power of conviction. In your own life, you must ask yourself, do you live by noise or do you live by conviction? Do you talk about your goals endlessly or do you take quiet, relentless action to achieve them? Do you spend your energy trying to impress others or do you focus on becoming unshakable within yourself? Because when you build conviction, you don't have to convince anyone else. They will see it in the way you move, in the way you speak, in the way you stand tall even when the pressure is heavy. Conviction is built through discipline. Every rep in the gym, every sacrifice you make, every time you choose to stay consistent, instead of giving up, you are building conviction. Conviction is not given. It is earned. It is the result of facing challenges, of standing by your principles when it would be easier to give them up, of walking the hard road when the easy one tempts you. That's what makes conviction so powerful. It is proof of your character. Noise fades. People forget loud voices, but conviction leaves a mark. It inspires trust. It builds loyalty. It becomes the backbone of movements, of teams, of nations, and of individuals who rise to greatness. If you want to influence others, if you want to shake the world, don't waste time on noise. Build conviction. Build that unshakable core inside yourself that says, no matter what happens, no matter what comes against me, I will not bend, I will not break, I will not surrender. This is why some people with just a few words can silence entire crowds. It's not about the volume, it's about the weight. Their conviction is so strong that the words echo long after they're spoken. That's the kind of strength you must aim for in your own life. You don't need to speak every time, but when you do, let your words come from a place of unshakable truth. Let them be so rooted in your conviction that no one can ignore them. That's when your voice becomes a weapon, a force, a revolution. Every person walking this earth has a word inside them, a word that defines who they are, a word that carries their spirit, their values, their mission in life. It doesn't matter where you come from what your background is, or how difficult your journey has been, there is a word that belongs to you. For some people, that word is freedom. For others, it is justice. For others, it is strength, or discipline, or resilience. But here's the truth. The word you choose, the word you live by, becomes your legacy. Too many people go through life without discovering that word. They wander without clarity, without direction, without purpose. They let the world define them instead of defining themselves. But the great ones, the legends, the warriors, they know their word. They live by it, they breathe it, they fight for it. And when their time is over, that word lives on in the hearts of everyone they touched. That is why one word can outlive 1,000 speeches. One word can echo across generations. You have to ask yourself right now, what is my word? What will people remember me by? Will they say I was weak? Or will they say I was relentless? Will they say I lived in fear? Or will they say I stood tall with courage? Will they say I wasted my life? Or will they say I left a mark on this world? Because make no mistake, your word is already being written every single day by the way you live, by the choices you make, by the actions you take or refuse to take. Your word is not just something you say, it is something you prove. If your word is discipline, then every day you must show it in the way you train, the way you work, the way you refuse to quit when it gets hard. If your word is strength, then you must embody it not just in your body, but in your mind, in your spirit, in the way you stand firm when others collapse. If your word is freedom, then you must be willing to fight for it, to defend it, to live in a way that inspires others to break their own chains. That is how your word becomes alive. And here's the beauty. Your word doesn't need to be spoken loudly. It is revealed in silence, in action, in discipline. You don't need to tell the world what your word is. It will see it. It will feel it when you enter the room. It will know it by the way you carry yourself, the way you rise after failure, the way you refuse to surrender. That is when your word becomes your identity, your symbol, your legacy. There will be people who try to challenge your word. They will mock it. They will doubt it. They will test it. And that is good, because every challenge is an opportunity to prove that your word is real. When life throws obstacles in your way, it is not to break you. It is to reveal whether your word is just talk or whether it is truth. Every struggle is a chance to carve your word deeper into history. The truth is, every one of us is writing a story with our life. And when that story is told, it will be summed up in one word. That is all people will remember. That is all that will remain. And the question is, what will your word be?